Hello students, let's read the problem. And it says, what is the equation of the line in the graph shown below? So they want me to find an equation of the line. And of course you can see the line on the graph. And if you look at the answer choices, I recognize those answer choices as an equation that is written in slope-intercept form. Is that right? So in case that we are still doubting about what a slope-intercept form looks like, I got it right here for you. Okay? So in order for me to write it in a slope-intercept form, I need to find a couple of things here. Well, number one, I need to find the m. And m refers to the slope of my line. Second thing that I need is b. And b is the y-intercept. So sometimes, especially when they give you a graph, you can give it a try to find the slope and the y-intercept, because slope, if we go back to some of the lessons that we did, I can find a slope by doing rise over run. Is that right? And I can find the y-intercept. I can find b, which is the y-intercept, by looking at the y-axis, because remember, my y-intercept is the point where it crosses the y-axis, where the line crosses the y-axis, okay? So we'll come back to that one. Let's take care of the slope, okay? So first of all, I want to do a couple of things. I need to decide whether this slope is positive or negative. So if you look at the highest point of my line, it's pointing to the right. And if it's pointing towards the right, then I know that my slope is positive slope. Okay, that's the first thing I want you to identify. So let's do rise over run. One of the easiest things to do on rise over run is let's find two locations of points that are on the line, but again, those 2 points needs to be in an exact location of the intersection of an x and a y coordinate, okay? Not like halfways, because we don't want to be guessing on order pairs. So what about if we find some good points here? So I can see this as a very good point. We'll come back to what order pairs are those. I can see another good point over here. I can see another one here. That's another good point. And what I mean by good points, it means that they are exactly on the intersection of two whole numbers, right? So not halfways. So let's find some of these points. I don't know how you feel about negative order pairs, but I like positives, right? So we'll work with these ones over here, which are the two on the top. So what I want to do is I want to do rise over run, which means how many units do I need to go up until I need to go across to reach the other point, right? So I can see that I'm going to go 2 up and 1, 2, and 3 to the right. Okay, so my rise is going to be 2 and my run is going to be 3. Therefore, my slope is 2 over 3. Okay, if you don't feel too comfortable just by thinking that that's the answer, we can give it a try. So I can go to any other 2 points. I'm going to go to the ones right below on the third quadrant, right? So I'm going to go 1 and 2 up, 1, 2, and 3 to the right. So notice how the rise and the run is exactly the same, no matter what points I choose. And I know what you're thinking. Miss, what about if I want to go from this point, which is green, all the way to the point that is over here? How would that work? That's okay. We can do that. So let's pretend that this point wasn't here. Okay? Let's pretend that I didn't know that point. And I'm like, Miss, how do I go from the green one to the red one way over there? Well, let's do the same thing. I'm going to go up and let's count. Okay? So let me change the color here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this one is 4 up. Is that right? So I'm going to write it down over here. 4 up. And from there, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 to the right. And I know what you're thinking. Miss, that's not the same answer because I got different numbers. Well, let's consider simplifying. So I am going to divide both of them by the same number. So I can divide both of them by 2. So 4 divided by 2, I get a 2. And 6 divided by 2, I get a 3. So what do you notice about these two numbers here? They're the same, right? So no matter what location of the points you choose, okay, counting correctly will give you the same slope. So slope is equals to 2/3, okay? Let's go with the y-intercept. Hopefully that's one of the easiest to do because remember, y-intercept means I'm going to look at my line. So I'm going to follow the line and I'm going to stop where I touch the y-axis, okay? So let's see if you can see my line. I'm going to start on the right up here and I'm going to go down. And I'm going to stop right there. The reason why I stop is because I'm reaching the y-axis. And I can continue, not a problem. I just wanted for you to stop right there because that's my y-intercept right there. And that y-intercept, it's a -1. So my y-intercept, I'm going to put a little wiggly line over here. It's -1. And if you want to think about the ordered pair, that's 0, -1. Okay? So what I need to do next, I'm going to ask you to rewrite the equation, which is the slope-intercept form. So I'm going to write down mx plus b up here. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to replace two things. I need to replace the m and I need to replace the b. Only those two. So m, we found it as 2/3. Therefore, I'm going to write down 2/3x. The b, it's a -1. So instead of saying plus -1, we don't need to write down plus -1. We can just say -1. And that will be my equation that I'm looking for. Okay? And now let's look at the answer choices and see which one it's that one. Can you find it? Yes, the answer should be letter A for this. It matches my equation.